Hey everybody, welcome. We are back. We're a little bit late, had to go into some technical difficulties, make sure we're sounding amazing for you. But this is Mike Sandoval. Who's
Once again, it is the J to the E to the double F-ree, and this is This Week in Pro Wrestling. And what a day, coming off of a jam-packed WrestleMania week, and we have another jam-packed week. It's quite apropos because this week, I've been talking about it on social media, Monday through Friday. We have in prime time at least 2 hours a night a new wrestling program every week now for the foreseeable future, Monday through Friday. Monday Night Raw for 3 hours on USA Network. Tuesday, NXT for 2 hours on USA Network. Wednesday, Aew Dynamite for 2 hours on TNT. Thursday, 2 hours of Impact Wrestling on Access TV. And finally, Friday, we have Smackdown on Fox. This is unprecedented, really. Unprecedented. And an unprecedented, this is a new era. Like, all bets are off, the gloves are off right now. And they're certainly off with some of the news we're going to have to talk about today. So how are you feeling coming off of WrestleMania week, and now we have all this chaos happening this week?
Well, what trips me out is the fact that usually you get some excitement on the shows.
On Raw. Usually the post WrestleMania Raw this week was garbage, right?
Oh, exactly. And that's what kind of gets me is the fact that
it's all off screen. All the excitement is happening off screen.
It's all the business. And I'm just like, what the hell happened here?
It's crazy.
So let's get started with that. Jeffrey, read what happened today.
Okay, so let's see. Here's the original story. So it was a small list, and then it kept exponentially growing. So WWE has officially released, at least that we know of right now, as of us recording as 10 WWE superstars have been released from the roster. Samoa Joe, former NXT World Champion, two-time United States Champion. Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, the Iconics, the former Iconics, the former Women's Tag Team Champions. They are gone. Mickie James, former WWE Women's Champion, gone. Chelsea Green, gone. Tucker of Heavy Machinery, gone. Wesley Blake, was he in the Forgotten Sons? Was that his stable?
Yes, he was with the Forgotten Sons.
Forgotten Sons, gone. Bo Dallas, former NXT World Champion, former Raw Tag Team Champion, gone. And I know this one is going to hit a little close to home for you, Mike, because I know you have a personal relationship with him, if it's okay for me to say that. Kalisto, former NXT Tag Team Champion, Cruiserweight Champion, United States Champion, Slammy Award winner, and number one Contenders Tournament winner. Top 25 PWI rankings in 2016. These guys were fairly prominent names, a lot of them. Oh, and here's the latest name that WWE has now confirmed: Mojo Raleigh. So, wow, shocking list of names. Now, Samoa Joe was he was taking more of a commentator role lately, but he was at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
He was he was part of the broadcast team for WrestleMania just this weekend. Billie Kay, she was in the Women's Tag Team Turmoil, right?
Yeah, she was.
She was. Was Peyton Royce? I forget.
Peyton Royce, I think, was off the card.
Yeah, I don't think she was in the Tag Team Turmoil. Yeah. But Billie Kay was. Billie Kay wasn't doing a whole lot, but she was on SmackDown with the whole resume thing, right? And trying to team up with people.
Trying to find a new tag team partner.
Okay. And then, so the former Iconics are gone. Mickie James, was she injured? Was she still injured right now, or was she back on TV?
I think she wasn't on TV, but I
think
either she was injured or they weren't using.
Okay. Chelsea Green, unfortunately, the night she was booked, to win a #1 contenders match on SmackDown. She got injured mid-match. I think broke either her wrist or her arm, and had to be put on the shelf, and she is gone now. Wesley Blake of the Forgotten Sons is gone. Bo Dallas, who hasn't really done much of anything since the B Team days in 2000, I want to say 2019?
Yeah.
Or 2018 or 19 for the B Team. His tag team partner in the B Team, Curtis Axel, he already got released last year. And Kalisto was doing those heel vignettes on his Twitter, acting like he was turning heel or was going to turn on Rey Mysterio or something, but they never did anything other than they had him on the Andre Battle Royal last Friday for the WrestleMania edition of SmackDown. So that was the last we saw of Kalisto in WWE. So any thoughts on any of these guys?
Samoa Joe, I was shocked about, because I don't know if he was injured. I don't know if it was just they just threw him into commentary, but he still could wrestle, and I don't know what they were doing with him. The Iconics was shocking to me, because as we had a comment right now that just came in saying that she had challenged Asuka for the Raw Women's title right before Mania. Was kind of shocking, because I thought they were gonna use her more, and they really haven't used her the way they should for Peyton Royce. Billie Kay, on the other hand, was kind of they're making her into more of a joke character, which kind of was sad to me. So I'm kind of happy they at least released her instead of using her.
Billie Kay teamed with Carmella for the women's tag team turmoil. Peyton Royce was not in that match. Okay, so the Iconics speaks to a larger problem in WWE to me, and that's why do you break up a tag team, a successful tag team, and then have nothing for them if you're going to break them up? Like, why even break them up at all?
Exactly, and that's the thing I don't get. They love putting people together to tag team, but they don't make tag teams in the women's division. And Peyton, and I like Peyton Royce. I think Peyton Royce and Billie Kay worked well together. I think the Iconics was fun. I mean, they were tag team women's champions, and I don't know what they're doing. I really don't get it. I don't understand.
They've been a women's tag team since NXT. They were a tag team before there was even a women's tag team championship on either show.
Exactly.
So it's crazy. Tucker was not doing anything on TV, but Heavy Machinery. That was a good tag team, right?
Yeah, that was a good tag team, and then they split them up.
They split them up. Otis won Money in the Bank. They took away Money in the Bank from Otis. They took away Mandy Rose from Otis, so he didn't have that storyline going on anymore. And they took away Tucker. And then they got so now Otis is with Chad Gable instead of Tucker. I mean, I don't understand that either.
I don't get the storyline, and I don't understand what they're doing with him. I don't even think they know what to do with him. The one that really kind of upsets me the most, and not just for personal reasons, but Kalisto being released.
Kalisto,
that one, I wasn't shocked, because I kind of had a feeling they were gonna do something with that. But I don't know, with him, I didn't. I just when Andrade got released is when I thought Kalisto would be next.
Well, at least Andrade left on his own. Like, that's what Andrade wanted. Kalisto, I mean, Lucha, let's be honest, Lucha House Party was a joke, Mike.
Oh, yeah, it was.
That's what they do. Like, okay, we got three luchadors, we got 3 masked Mexican wrestlers, let's all group them together. You know?
Yeah. And I think a Kalisto on his own would have been a great.
He did well on his own. He did well on his own for a little while. He had that run with the US title. Then he had a Cruiserweight title run. And then I feel like ever since they started Lucha House Party, he's been treading water.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I would have loved to have seen, because in his promos that he was doing, in his promos that were talking, he was mentioning Rey Mysterio.
He was doing
I think
these
that would have been
those
cool.
heel promos on his Twitter, but like they never started up a storyline on TV.
Nuh-uh.
Um,
And the whole thing of him calling himself the GLOAT, the greatest
he's
luchador
from
of all time.
and he's from Chicago. Like, you know, the whole stigma Vince McMahon had with Andrade was he couldn't speak English well enough.
Yeah.
Kalisto speaks perfect English.
Mm-hmm.
He's charismatic. He can cut a promo. Like, I feel like if you're gonna say Kalisto can't talk, I can't really take you seriously, because he's cutting promos. He's filming vignettes on his Twitter because WWE won't book him on TV because he's stuck in catering. Mm-hmm. And he's been working hard. He's been working on his physique. He's in some of the best shape of his life. He speaks English fine. He's got a great look. I don't understand what the problem is here.
See, and this is for me. Like, I see Kalisto going on to bigger and better things away from WWE, because he has a physique. He's a great wrestler. He knows how to sell storyline, and that's the way. Like, he is. Like, I would love to see, since there's so many factions in AEW, maybe having something with him, the Lucha Brothers, and doing something around there.
Okay, Jonathan Rodriguez got a comment from him. She cut an amazing promo on Raw on Raw Talk. I'm sorry, Raw Talk. She basically said to let her go. Not sure if it was scripted. Peyton, talking about Peyton Royce, right? I think, Jonathan. Yeah, she did cut an amazing promo on Raw Talk. And then there's Fire and Desires. Sonya and Mandy Rose broke them up. You see, at least they did a feud between those two when they broke them up. So, but then Mandy Rose is just back in another tag team with Dana Brooke, you know? So it's like they're not doing much with Dana Brooke. Sonya kind of has that thing where she's kind of like the co-general or the assistant general manager with Adam Pearce on SmackDown right now, or something like that. I don't even think Adam Pearce is the general manager. It's just he's kind of like the designated authority figure these days, though.
Yeah, he's the poster boy for authority and shows.
I mean, wrestling struggles with you always like need an authority figure or something. Samoa Joe, I think he was having injury issues. Like he was getting he had a couple concussions. He did have that wellness violation last year. That was his first one. I don't know the whole story. Yeah. I mean, Andrade had one last year too. I don't know the whole story, like what he tested positive for and what the whole deal is there. I mean, Randy Orton has had wellness violations in the past, but Kalisto's just unfortunate. But here's the silver lining to all this, and I'm sure it sucks for these guys right now, for these 10 athletes, but they are all so talented. They're so professional. I think all the people that got cut, like I don't really think they're problem workers, and I've heard just glowing things about all these wrestlers. I think they will find work elsewhere and they will bounce back. And here's the other good news. As I just mentioned at the top of the show, we have pro wrestling every night of the week right now. And not all of them are WWE. We have 2 hours of AEW on Wednesday nights, and then we have 2 hours of Impact Wrestling on Thursday. And then we have indie promotions. We have MLW. They're on DAZN. We have Ring of Honor. They're on Sinclair Broadcasting. We have NWA, National Wrestling Alliance. They're on Fight TV. So Mickie James's husband, Nick Aldis, he's the NWA World Champion. So they will, I think, be okay, and I think they will be able to get booked elsewhere. And once one door closes, another opens. So as bad as this feels, and if you're listening to this and you're watching this and you're fans of any of these superstars, I have a good feeling that a lot of them will bounce back and end up elsewhere and find good work elsewhere, and they'll be okay. and other people will want to sign them and book them. But what do you think?
I agree. I think they are going to find and land some really good homes. I mean, Peyton Royce was complaining about the fact of not having those opportunities. Just about a month ago, she was mentioning that, and this wasn't on. This was they did play off of it on air, but this was off air through her social media that she was like not happy with the way the character was going.
Her mom was not happy either.
Exactly.
Her mom was like, "Hey, Charlotte, give some other girls a chance."
And that's the thing. The people that they're keeping, like, there's some wrestlers that they still have in their stable that they're not even using, and they haven't used. They just have them on payroll.
Here's one other aspect I want to point out to this. We are 1 year to the day of last year's, they call it spring cleaning, that time after WrestleMania where WWE like cuts a lot of people. On April 15th, same day, exact same day, 2020, they released a significant chunk of their roster, the producers, referees, and backstage workers as part of the pandemic-related cuts. What do you think that they waited until the same day this year to release these superstars?
I don't think it's coincidence at all, but something tells me that WWE is hurting a little bit.
How can they be hurting? How can they be hurting?
I think
they just signed a $1 billion deal with Peacock, with NBC Universal. $1 billion, $1 billion, 5 years. That's $200 million a year. $200 million a year in revenue.
I get it, but I think their the shows and the touring, is extra revenue that they're not securing.
Right. But were the house shows even making money before the pandemic?
The only shows that were really making money were the TV tapings, Raw, SmackDown. House shows were not, but house shows allowed like the ones who were not getting on television that week to wrestle.
But I mean, how great of a percentage was the live event touring to their overall revenue?
The pay-per-views is where they make a majority of their money.
So last year they fired Heath Slater, they fired Kurt Angle, Epico and Primo, Mike Chioda, the referee, Sarah Logan, Eric Rowan, Mike and Maria Kanellis, Zack Ryder, aka Matt Cardona, No Way Jose, Rusev, I think Brian Myers, the Good Brothers, Leo Rush, EC3, Drake Maverick ended up being able to keep his job because of the Cruiserweight tournament. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, so 1 year later.
Yeah, and all the wrestlers they released last year all landed into good spots and have been doing very well. I mean, Rusev's at AEW. He's doing well. I mean, there's opportunity. Leo Rush is in Ring of Honor. So there's opportunity out there.
So a week from today, WWE is going to announce their first quarter 2021 results.
What's their stock at right now?
Let's check.
Because there were at one time at 50 or 60.
Right now it's up. Right now they're at 56.74 a share. Mm-hmm. So they're not back at that level they were before the really big drop.
Yeah.
A while ago.
But the highest that we're at was at 96.71.
Right. So they're at 56. They're at about 56 right now. Mm-hmm. Per share. So
it's kind of unless they're bringing up these NXT, they're gonna start bringing up some more NXT people. But
they did hire one of their biggest NXT classes ever just recently.
Yeah,
with the Taya Valkyrie class, the same class as her, with Frankie Monet now.
Frankie Monet, remember?
Yeah,
that now?
Yeah.
Monet.
But that class was supposedly their biggest. That was their biggest developmental class ever. Mm-hmm. So,
So I wonder how fast they're going to bring up these people now.
But also, it's being reported, I think, I heard it from Sean Ross Sapp on Fightful, that John Laurinaitis, the head of talent relations, said the cuts were due to budget cuts. How can you say budget cuts at a time like this when they're reporting record revenue and they just signed a $1 billion deal with NBC Universal?
This is why I say something is not on the up and up right now.
What do you think is not on the up and up?
Because if you just signed a big deal with Peacock and yet you're cutting in their same budget constraints,
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of making me wonder what's really going on, and where is the shortfall coming from? Because if it's definitely not the network, like the network just pretty much got pushed into Peacock, and you're no longer paying
See,
Disney.
I don't. You're not getting the live event revenue, but you're getting all this TV revenue. You're getting all this live TV revenue because Peacock now hosts all the pay-per-view events. Yep. You have Fox. They got a ton of money from the Fox deal. They just saw NXT just re-upped with USA Network in a multi-year deal. So they can't be making chump change from USA Network to have NXT on Tuesday nights now. So I don't know how you're talking about budget cuts, even with the lack of live event revenue. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, that's why I say there's something fishy, and I would like to see what it is, because it's kind of TV revenue. If you take it like the NFL,
mm-hmm.
TV revenue is where you make the majority of your money,
right?
So
and WWE is making serious money from TV rights.
So where is it a mismanagement in the revenue? It's hard to say. I unless we see the books, that's the only way you could tell if there's what's going on and what isn't. So
did they have debts we just weren't hearing about? Or
I mean, for the production of WrestleMania this year, I'm sure it wasn't cheap to do 2 days at
right
in Tampa at
right
where Tampa Bay at Buccaneers play
at the Raymond James Stadium, and then they did have that settlement they had to pay out. They paid out that record settlement to the stockholders, right?
Yes.
So that was like 38, 39. Okay. It was a 39 million settlement to a class action lawsuit, and that was in November of last year, and that was filed by the City of Warren, Michigan Police and Fire Retirement System. And it was over their business dealings with Saudi Arabia, allegations of inflating the company's stock and selling more than $280 million worth of shares at fraudulently inflated prices. So they settled that lawsuit. Maybe they're expecting to settle more lawsuits soon like that. Is that possible?
It is,
because multiple lawsuits were filed over the Saudi Arabia and the loss in stock.
It is possible because there's still. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're dealing with a lot still in what happened in Saudi Arabia. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they're dealing with is lawsuits now.
Hey, Quilo, is that Quilo? Welcome to the chat. We're talking about This Week in Pro Wrestling. We have the WWE cuts. Just let go of 10 roster members, including Samoa Joe, the Iconics, Bo Dallas, and more. So if you have anything to say about that, please feel free to chime in. What do you think about Bo Dallas, former champion?
I'm not shocked about Bo Dallas, but I did love the theories that were going around this week that Bo Dallas was the Fiend at WrestleMania.
I think that was debunked, but I did hear that.
Yeah, I heard that, and I was like, it doesn't look like him. It looks like the Fiend. But
Bo Dallas wasn't really getting booked on TV. According to Dave Meltzer, he's living on a farm with Liv Morgan. So
that's not a bad thing to.
And he was already No, apparently he
Smart.
was already preparing for a life after wrestling, so I gotta assume he saw this coming to some degree.
Yeah, exactly.
Mickie James, do you think she'll end up in NWA, or do you think she'll continue wrestling? What do you think?
I don't know. I don't know about her. I think she is doing her podcast with
Mm-hmm.
Victoria and SoCal Val, which is Ga. It's actually kind of funny. Go check it out. They do a great podcast. And who knows? Maybe she'll go into movies. Maybe she'll go into something else because
She has music too.
yeah,
She did country music for a
yeah.
while.
She doesn't need to really be wrestling anymore. She could do the music. Like her music is really good. So I could see her continuing her music career.
Now, I have a couple other things. Matt Cardona, who's engaged to Chelsea Green, who got let go, he got released the same day 1 year ago. I was literally making a post about how this past year has been a blessing in disguise as the news of these releases broke. You will all be fine. Work your ass off. Create your own opportunities. I love you, Chelsea Green. You're a star. And then when a reporter talked about pretty tone deaf to do this on the same day 1 year later, that's Fightful's Sean Ross Sapp. Matt Cardona responded saying, WWE 415 says, I just fired your AWS. Matt Cardona.
And that's the thing. I would really like to hear from these people. Like, what was it like at WWE and what's really going on? Because I think things are leaking out little by little now as they've released bigger talent.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure there's more to it, and that's what I would like to know is what's going on. Because if it's Vince going after that same old guy, well, things are changing. He's gonna have to change along with it. It's about the audience. The audience is watches and brings them the money.
Here's what Mickie James said after news broke. Grateful for the memories, grateful for the locker room, grateful for the fans, grateful for these little keys to my golden handcuffs. You can never expect others' visions of you to be as big as your own dreams. Thank you, Vince McMahon. Always blessed and grateful. So that's Mickie James, former women's champion, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I think she seems to be on good terms over this, and I think they can still induct her into the WWE Hall of Fame at some point.
Yeah, they're going to. They have to. She's put up the number. She's credible. She put up the numbers. She's credible, so she should be put into the Hall of Fame.
Right. I think she could have been a coach or a locker room leader. A lot of things she could have done.
Yeah, I think that they could have really used her, especially with younger women who are coming in and younger wrestlers who are coming in. She has a great wealth of knowledge. So I don't know.
As much as I hate to say it, I'm not surprised about Mojo Raleigh.
No, I'm not surprised.
And I like Mojo Raleigh. I think he's a great worker who had a lot of potential.
Yeah. I could see him with Impact.
He's a guy I could definitely see an Impact, and I think he's a guy they can use.
Yeah, Samoa Joe, I don't know where he would go.
He'll have options. I think he just needs to take some time, rest up, lick his wounds, make sure he's okay with the concussions and everything. I'm sure he can serve a number of roles. Joe's issue, though, he's 42. He was, the injuries were piling up for him, and he's a big guy. That's it. It gets tougher when you're carrying around a little extra mass. When you're that age, it gets a little tougher on the tendons and the ligaments and everything. I mean, look, it happened to Kevin Nash too. Yeah. After he turned, once he got into his 40s. So, I think if he worked a lighter schedule, I'm sure he could find work in Japan. If he went back to Ring of Honor, maybe he wanted to be, wind down in Ring of Honor. I'm sure he could work in AEW.
Yeah.
To some degree,
we see
AEW doesn't have a hectic schedule either. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, you see Sting come back, and he's been able to work even with the injury that he had, which was pretty much
Sting is about 20 years older.
Yeah, exactly. So if
Sting is 62.
If he could do it,
yeah. I mean, Ric Flair was probably wrestling well past the time he should have been as well.
Yeah.
So it's I think he can still come back and work. I would have liked to have seen Joe done a little bit more in WWE, but to me, the upside is he got to feud with Brock Lesnar. He feuded with AJ Styles for the world title. He feuded with Roman Reigns, with Seth Rollins a little bit. Never got like that really like world title run that I think really would have capped off his career. Yeah. But oh well. Oh, Samoa Joe. He had a nice little exchange with his old ROH rival CM Punk. Do you remember CM Punk and Joe? They had that famous trilogy 16 years ago in 2005.
Yep.
That really put them on the map. So Samoa Joe. Okay, so CM Punk posted a GIF of Rick James on Chappelle's show. Doing the Rick James putting his feet on the couch like F yo couch.
Yeah.
Doing that he tagged Samoa Joe. And then Samoa Joe said they really should have never gave me money. And then Punk replied, effed up and paid us. So hey, I like that, man.
True. They paid him.
They got
that check they cleared, and
so I hope Joe probably did make some good money. I mean, he got to keep his name, he got to keep his gimmick, he got a lot of merchandise. I heard his shirt sold well in NXT. I just would have liked to. Here's my one regret for Joe: he never had that great WrestleMania match.
No,
he never got. I always wanted to see Joe have that really just great classic WrestleMania, and it never really happened. So, unfortunate.
That's something that's cool with Kalisto. Kalisto owns his name, so he could take that anywhere.
Oh, good. Okay, yeah. Some of these guys, WWE owns their ring names and their gimmicks, so they're probably going to have to tweak that. If they sign a new contract with another promotion. Joe kind of just lucked out where after NXT started, they were looking for some of those indie, established names outside of WWE, and they let him keep his. Same with AJ Styles as well. Yeah. But yeah. Anything else to add on these cuts, Mike, before we move on?
I just think I'm looking forward to see where they land and where they're going to be wrestling next. There's so many options now.
That's a good. I mean, that's a good thing. There are options, and when things start opening back up, there will be more options, right?
Exactly, and you don't know what's going to come in the future, and what's going to pop up. What new organization, or which one of them may start their own. I mean, look at Booker T. He started his with his wife, and they're in Houston, and it's doing well.
Oh, right. And they have their own, they have Reality of Wrestling with his wrestling school.
And I was on a Clubhouse. I don't know how many people on here use Clubhouse, but I was on a Clubhouse ask, and Charmel was on the same room that we were in and talking about that they had a drive-through wrestling match recently. I mean, they're innovative. They're trying new things during this pandemic, and it's working for them, so they're doing well.
Oh, like a drive-in movie theater, but with wrestling?
Drive-in movie theater. And
that's
a good idea.
I think that's a good, especially right now, that would be a good idea. All right. So here's the other major news story this week. So, before we get into the TV stuff, I want to talk about the NXT ratings. So NXT, as we discussed earlier, they did their new time slot on Tuesday night. So they're on Tuesday night for the foreseeable future. And they signed a new multi-year deal with USA Network. First show on Tuesday night, they broke 805,000 viewers for the first time in a while. Rating was a 0.22 in the key demo. Identical to last week, which was the NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver Night 1 simulcast and USA Network. So they did a good number. But even bigger. So the Wednesday Night Wars.
Should we do a drum roll for this one?
Yeah, sure. AEW Dynamite 1.2 million viewers, almost double that of last week. Last week against NXT TakeOver, Dynamite did 688,000 viewers. This week they did 1.2. That's almost double last week. So AEW really needed that win badly because their numbers were going last 3 weeks. So
and they got some exciting.
They rebounded.
So maybe NXT moving helping them a lot.
Well,
because sometimes it could be too much wrestling, you know.
Yeah.
NXT and then an hour break and then wrestling some more. Sometimes to a fan, they may want to go see something different. Having it stand alone on a Wednesday allows you to have that time to relax and get away from it and then come back. Because yesterday's AEW Dynamite was the way it kicked off was awesome.
Okay, so this
really helped a lot.
So Raw's viewership on Monday was 2.026 million viewers. So that's barely over 2 million viewers. So AEW is not that far away.
Nope.
They are not that far away from Raw.
Yeah.
Right now, in terms of just the audience.
I'm telling you, a couple big names, get these storylines even bigger, start working it because shoot, they could catch up to them.
Let's see. And that was a post WrestleMania Raw too. Mm-hmm. The week before, Raw did a 1.7 million. So think about that. Mm-hmm. Before WrestleMania, Raw was doing 1.7 million viewers. So that's only 500,000 viewers away.
And see, something tells me that people are getting tired of the way WWE has been writing their shows. Because some of the gimmicks and some of the writing have not been good, especially a Raw after WrestleMania. Those are usually the best Raw episodes.
Not this week.
No, this week was bad. It was. I lost interest halfway through. It was that bad.
I think I agree. They need to sign the next couple, like some key names, but they need to be the right names. And what else? They need that second. I think they need that second TNT or Warner Media show that they've been talking up for over a year. We've been waiting over a year for this show. Hopefully, this number finally gives them a little bit of rocket fuel, a little bit of gas. Because the numbers the last few weeks weren't that great for Dynamite, so they really needed this win badly. So hopefully this gets a little momentum going for them.
Also, to the last couple of weeks, the storylines have been kind of blah.
Yeah,
they haven't really been that exciting. This week's was a lot better.
Uh-huh.
It was really good, but like the last couple of weeks, it wasn't.
And they had Mike Tyson last night as well, and that was another. Exactly. Mike Tyson usually helps.
Tyson helps a lot of things. Jeffrey? Still there. We lost Jeffrey for a second. We're having difficulties with Jeffrey's feed, but hopefully we'll get him back very soon, and he'll be back as he's looking through different news that is going on during the day. So hopefully we'll hear him very soon. But yeah, it was an interesting week, especially with the Raw the first Raw of after WrestleMania. That was just. I don't know. It wasn't the new Thunderdome. It wasn't the new venue. It was just the storylines were just bad. Storylines just didn't pick it up.
Sorry about that.
Well, here he comes. Back. Just talking about the storylines from Raw and how.
Yeah.
Really.
Did you hear Mike Tyson? Did you hear what I said about Mike Tyson?
No. Repeat yourself about Mike.
Okay, so Mike Tyson helps with the viewership a little bit with the AEW numbers. Mm-hmm. Here's the other impressive thing about the Dynamite numbers this week. They beat the NBA. So it was a regular season game with Brooklyn versus Philadelphia and also Dallas versus Memphis, but they beat the NBA on ESPN. So that's in a time where where TV revenue is a big deal right now, and networks are looking for live TV. That's a good feather in your cap to have.
I agree. I agree with you completely on that one because that really is going to give leverage to TNT for them to TNT to get that extra show.
Okay, so last week we left off. We were doing night 2 of NXT Takeover, Stand and Deliver, and from there we had the WrestleMania edition of SmackDown, and then we had WrestleMania weekend. So where are we picking up here? Do we want to talk about any of those shows? Any thoughts on anything?
I would just talk about WrestleMania right now.
Okay, so let's go into WrestleMania.
Yeah, because WrestleMania first, the night one was actually really good. I liked night one of WrestleMania.
I think night 1 was better than night 2.
I was shocked by Bad Bunny's work. I was literally like that. Like, if you're gonna be, and this is something that I was listening to Bubba Ray on XM, and and they were both him and his co-host were both talking about any celebrity that comes in from now on is going to have to really put in the work now, because Bad Bunny put in the work, and you could see that he put in the work to really show out on the biggest stage.
Not Pat McAfee. He didn't top Pat McAfee though. But
No.
Pat McAfee, at least Pat McAfee, he was already an athlete beforehand, and he loved wrestling. Like, in an alternate universe, he could have been like probably one of the best pro wrestlers ever. So,
Yeah.
but
Pat
yeah,
McAfee, like I say, Pat McAfee is the exception.
yeah,
But Bad Bunny, who isn't an athlete, he's a musician, and came into this with
he did
like
a great job. Yeah, he did a great job.
that was even like to have people. I was looking at people on Twitter, and they were all like just shocked on how good he was.
He worked most of that match because Damian Priest, Dave Meltzer reported he had back injuries and just barely got cleared to do that match. Bad Bunny worked most of it. He
Yeah.
worked like, let's see, that was like a 15-minute match. He worked like 12 minutes of it, basically.
Mhm.
Like it was, and then he did the Canadian Destroyer on Morrison on the outside.
And
That was impressive.
that was really impressive. I don't know if I would be able to do the same thing, but he pulled it off pretty clean, and it was a good he
I
sold it
think
well.
I think it was impressive. He looked polished. He didn't really. He looked like he didn't look sloppy. He
Mm-mm.
didn't look like a guy who was having his first match ever.
Yeah, exactly.
Opening match on night 1 of WrestleMania was Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre. Bobby Lashley won. I think that was the right move. He won. He won with the hurt. What is it? The hurt lock.
Oh,
The hurt lock. Which is a full Nelson.
yes. Like, how many years has it been since a full Nelson has won at a WrestleMania?
Or just won a match period.
Oh, exactly.
Or I guess one in a world title match. I guess it's one for Bobby Lashley before.
True.
I think one of the better. I think it was a good match. I think Bobby Lashley winning was the right move. What do you think?
I think it was too. I think they need a. It would have been too quick to take the belt away
Yeah,
from Bobby Lashley, and
he
I think it
just
was.
won it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he just literally won it, and then to go have the belt changed twice in such a quick amount of time is just that wouldn't have been good. So yeah, I thought it was a good match. I was excited about that one.
Okay, so second match of the night was the women's tag team turmoil. Natalia and Tamina won, which I think took everyone by surprise.
Yes, but they had a good pop on the next day.
Yeah,
So I think it was a good call.
the match wasn't very good though.
No, it wasn't good at all.
I kind of wanted Lana and Naomi to win just because I feel like they've been doing this thing with Lana and her like overcoming Nia Jax for a while, but I guess not.
Yeah.
Okay, this was a great match. Cesaro and Seth Rollins. Cesaro finally gets his big WrestleMania moment, the first singles match win at WrestleMania in his career. This was not a 5-star classic, but this match was everything it needed to be, I think.
Yes, I agree with you. It was good to see him win. It was Seth Rollins knows how to sell it and knows how to really work a crowd, and he's good at that bad guy role.
Yeah.
And he really comes across over, and I think that's what really made Cesaro pop even more. So it was a good match. I thought they both did amazing in the job.
What I like about this match is they really built up the aspect of doing the big swing on Seth Rollins and building that up. And not only did he do the big swing, he did the UFO, the no hands airplane spin, which looked amazing. And I think so supposedly Cesaro had been saving that move up for WrestleMania. So his last WrestleMania win was 7 years ago at WrestleMania 30 in the Andre Battle Royal. So he's been saving this move up for 7 years. He's been waiting to do this.
And it was well worth it. Why not bring it back with people able to see what he was doing? So
okay. So we have new Raw Tag Team Champions, AJ Styles and is it Omos or Omos? Omos beat the New Day. A bit of a weird match, but was what it was.
I wasn't too happy with it, as it seemed kind of weird that you put two guys together on their very first tag team match and they win the belts. It's kind of, I don't know where they're gonna go with the storyline. I don't know how they're gonna push both of them, but it just seemed kind of odd.
It's like, I guess my issue is now they have Omos as like this sort of just like a monster you can't take down. How are they going to deal with that?
Yeah.
Also, Kofi and Xavier look like heels in this match more than anything, because they were just bullying AJ until Omos came in.
Yeah.
Average 2-star match to me. I mean, it wasn't. Could have been worse, but it wasn't great. But whatever.
Yeah.
Braun Strowman beat Shane McMahon in the steel cage match. Don't give a.
Yeah, that
Blah. Of course, you already touched on Bad Bunny. Damian Priest beat The Miz and John Morrison. Surprising. I think the sleeper hit in the night, I think. Yeah?
I agree.
For sure.
It was.
And our main event for night one, we have Bianca Belair beat Sasha Banks for the SmackDown Women's title. New SmackDown Women's Champion, Bianca Belair. Great match.
It was a great match. Sasha Banks and Bianca did amazing jobs. I mean, it was a real, to end the show and to end the night. It was such a good match. I was really happy with the way it came out, and it only shows that Sasha Banks is a really, really good talent.
This was it was a WrestleMania quality match. I'm glad that Sasha had that moment. Bianca Belair had that moment. They're never going to forget this ever. So you can never take this away from them.
Here's my question to you.
Yeah.
Do you think Sasha Banks is taking a break after this to go back onto set for Mandalorian? Because it's not coming out till next year, the next season of Mandalorian.
Is she going to be in Book of Boba Fett?
I do not know.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I haven't heard. I don't know when the Mandalorian season 3 starts filming. Maybe she might be taking a break. We'll see. I guess we'll see. That's a good point.
I know the show comes out next year. Well, season 3 will come out next year. Book of Boba is in December, so chances are they shot Book of Boba end of last year. I'm thinking.
I think it won't be too difficult because whatever they do, like WWE, like they're not touring and traveling too much right now. WrestleMania is just a one-off for right now.
Yeah.
And they're staying in Florida for right now with the Thunderdome at the Youngling Center. So I don't, and Book of Boba Fett, Mandalorian, I don't know if they'll be filming overseas or not. And it is probably easier to travel within the U.S. right now, I would say.
Yeah.
That is a good point. So I don't know enough about her situation to see if she's taking a break, but that is a good question.
Yeah.
So the answer is I am not sure, and I would also like to know the answer to that.
So would I.
But I would say Lashley versus Drew McIntyre, Bianca Belair, Sasha Banks were both great WrestleMania quality title matches.
Yeah. Now, night 2.
Night 2 was a dumpster fire, basically.
Oh yes, that first match was just a heaping pile that just they needed to get warm. It was raining, so, it was
That they were raining on night 1. Did not start out easy because they had the rain delay, and then they had to bring out all the superstars to do those impromptu promos before they could start the pay-per-view. But yeah, I think they had the rain earlier in the day on night 2. But yeah,
but it was that Fiend and Randy
Ugh.
match was just.
I never want to see them wrestle again, ever.
Yeah,
ever.
And I just don't. It's like when you get the opening match of the second night of WrestleMania and the crowd is booing.
I don't know what was the point. I don't get what the point was. Like, what are we even doing here with this?
Me neither. I
don't know what's going on with this feud.
They don't know where to take the story. I'm just like,
the
worst thing about it, and the best thing that I loved and I loved
okay
the week was that Bubba Ray's all like, it looked like they went to a thrift Halloween store to put the crown because it looked like the black stuff that was coming out would just squirt, like somebody had a pump and just squirted.
You know what that reminded me of? You know what it reminded me of? Remember Papa Shango and Ultimate Warrior and the black goo?
Yep.
That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah.
And that's not a good thing, but that's not a compliment.
It is not. Maybe that's where the budget went and they blew their
the mask and effects were done by I think Callison Studios. That was founded by Jason Baker and Tom Savini. So they did the mask and the headpiece for that segment. But it was, I guess, the ink stuff, the goo was not their best work.
No,
I would say
not.
I don't know what do you do with the Fiend now, Mike? He's done. You can't take him seriously anymore.
No, you can't. And we will get into that because on Monday, the Fiend returns. Well, Bray Wyatt returns. So
I guess Alexa Bliss has she's in charge now and she has all the Fiend's powers. I don't know. It's so strange. Yeah. I don't like. That was a dud. It was a total dud. Okay. Next. Women's tag team titles. We had Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler beat Natalya and Tamina. So we had the heels. Well, it was heel versus heel, really. The match actually wasn't bad, honestly, because all four women are pretty good in the ring and know what they're doing. I guess arguably some people would take issue with Nia Jax on that, but it was decent, and they actually got a good amount of time.
And I thought Tamina and would have won. I really thought that they were going to give him the belts because Natty and Tamina work good together.
Yeah,
could be a great tag team. And I just thought it would have been a perfect moment, a good WrestleMania moment.
I would have been happy for Tamina if it was able to happen. She was able to finally win a title, but yeah.
But they didn't. And they decided to keep it with Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. And
so we had our other celebrity WrestleMania appearance. We had Kevin Owens beat Sami Zayn, who was escorted by Logan Paul. Did you like having Logan Paul on WWE TV?
Let's just put it this way. I wish KO would have given him a harder stunner than what he received.
I guess credit to Logan Paul for taking the stunner and getting humiliated on TV like that. But one former commander-in-chief did that as well.
Yes.
About 14 years ago.
Yeah, man. I'll keep my thoughts to myself about that.
Kevin Owens won. I think unsurprising. Yeah. I think it was these guys used to wrestle each other up and down the indies, like in PWG and whatnot, in Ring of Honor back in the day. So they're not going to touch those classics, but as far as WWE matches goes, this was fine.
I agree.
I like Sammy as a character. I like the conspiracy against Sammy and all that. I've enjoyed that. I hope they keep running with, like, maybe he'll make a documentary.
Yeah.
Like, just make like a 1-hour documentary about how WWE is conspiring against him, something like that. And it's just like and make it like a mockumentary kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it would be funny. I think it would be good.
I couldn't stand looking at Logan Paul, though.
Yeah,
I'm not saying I look, Logan Paul, no offense, I just couldn't stand looking at you ringside that whole match.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Logan Paul. I
Yeah.
sometimes question how he got his fame through YouTube, but that's just me.
That's a lot of people on YouTube, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, for the U.S. title, Sheamus beat Matt Riddle, or Riddle, I guess as he's called now. It's rumored that Sheamus was not supposed to win the match, and they changed it up at the last minute, but Sheamus is now the new U.S. champion. Lost it to Riddle. This one was okay, I thought.
It wasn't the best. It wasn't the best. And it was time to take the belt away from Riddle. And
Sheamus did blow that top rope move toward the end, though.
Yes, he did.
But he recovered, but he did blow that whatever move he was trying to do off the top rope.
Yeah.
I'm not a big, I don't get, what is all the hype about Riddle? What is it about Riddle that people were raving about him before he signed?
Yeah. I don't think I think they would have, I think people would have thought they would have done more with him or a different type of style than what they've actually sold him as. He's kind of like that surfer bro kind of idiot type of character.
I guess it's because I think it's because I guess he used to be sort of a semi-notable UFC fighter.
Yeah.
So maybe it's that he kind of has that going for him.
Yeah.
I still don't know what a Nigerian drum fight is, but we have a new Intercontinental Champion. Apollo Crews beat Big E. I'm not opposed to the result, but wow.
Yeah. And who was it that came in to help him?
That was Dabba-Kato.
Was he the one that was in those
Raw Underground?
Yeah, exactly. That's why he looked familiar and I couldn't picture it.
Okay, however, now he's not Dabba-Kato anymore. Now he is Commander Aziz. I don't know about this gimmick. I don't know about this gimmick right now.
In the 1980s.
It does.
Sergeant Slaughter and
this kind of feels like we're kind of treading the line a little too close.
Yeah.
These, I don't know. I wonder how their promotional partners are going to feel about this. The wrestler, I mean, he is of partial Nigerian descent. He's half Polish, half Nigerian, but yeah, it does feel like we're getting a bit into those kind of like 1980s, 1990s incentive.
We're
kind of characters
straws now.
I
figure out what type of gimmicks are we going to use right now.
Well, here are the three guys in charge. Here's our three guys in charge. We have Vince McMahon, chairman. We have Bruce Pritchard, who's in charge of Raw and SmackDown, and head of talent relations, who just fired everybody, John Laurinaitis. So, go figure.
Exactly. Do you think there needs to be a shakeup
in terms of personnel
with them on the top?
Well,
Laurinaitis and Pritchard.
Laurinaitis just got that job back. They did have that. See, in 2019, they brought in Bischoff to be head of SmackDown, Heyman head of Raw. That lasted a few months, and then they dismissed Heyman from head of Raw and brought in Pritchard to be head of both. And then Laurinaitis took over as head of talent relations again. So I think the shakeup, To me, the biggest shakeup needs to happen is the chairman. That's what
Yeah,
needs to happen.
I think so too, because the storylines and if they're still doing this where storylines are being changed before the show even starts, like minutes before the show starts,
Mm-hmm.
I just a lot of that is and I wouldn't be shocked if it's still going on because you could see a lot of the problems are still happening.
Okay. Raw Women's title, Rhea Ripley got the win over Asuka and won the WWE Raw Women's title. Asuka does not have a good WrestleMania record.
No, she doesn't.
I think she is 0-4 at WrestleMania now,
Yeah.
basically.
But I did call it that they were going to give Rhea Ripley the belt.
I'm not upset with the result because I think Rhea Ripley needed, like, if she lost she lost to Charlotte last year, and if she lost to,
Okay,
are we
back.
still here?
You're back.
I'm sorry, I'm having some technical issues.
That's
If she
okay.
lost to Asuka, this year, that would have like really just gutted her.
Yes.
You know? Mm-hmm. So she really needed to rebound from last year. And I love Asuka. She is a great talent, but I feel like Rhea Ripley has more upside right now.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's not a knock on Asuka. It's just that you need to build up your young stars, you know? You need to give them something. Exactly. Ripley looked good. It was a decent match. It was not my favorite match that weekend. It was okay. And here we go. The final main event of night 2. We had Roman Reigns beat Edge, Daniel Bryan in a triple threat match to retain the Universal title. I love Daniel Bryan. Yeah, he's one of my favorite wrestlers. He's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. But this might, and I'm sorry, who I might upset. He did not need to be in this match.
No.
This match, it was Roman Reigns versus Edge. That's all it needed to be.
And the one thing that really kind of ticks me off a little bit, because I like Roman Reigns as a wrestler is really, really good. And I don't like the fact they still have Jey Uso like meddling in, because he doesn't need to be meddling in to the fight.
Jey Uso did not. His interference did not add much to this match. You already have Paul Heyman there. Yeah. You didn't need Jey Uso.
And that's the thing. It's like, why did you even have him a part of this? If you would have just left it alone, it would have made Roman Reigns look even bigger. Look, then you could say, "Oh wow, he beat 2 really good names, 2 former champions. That's a big," and he did it on his own. The Jey Uso thing, I just don't like. Why do you need him out there?
I guess because he is still a heel, so I guess that's just kind of, heels have their cronies interfere with matches, so I guess that's just kind of the thing, Mike.
But also, too, wasn't there the storyline, or there was rumors of a storyline that Rock was supposed to be a part of this feud for this year's WrestleMania?
Well, not really rumors. They have, both those guys have talked about facing each other at WrestleMania before.
Yeah.
So,
because that would have, like, well, let's just put it this way: Rock doesn't have any time. He's busy. He's doing a bunch of movies. He's doing TV, doing everything, running for president. Who the hell knows? But it's like, that would have been a great. And it couldn't happen in the future, but that would be a great storyline of him saying, "I'm the head of the table," and Rock comes back and saying, "No, let's get
it." But here's my question: are they stumping for The Rock versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 38?
It's possible.
Because
or when they come to LA, have him lose the belt.
Rock's 48 years old, and the LA WrestleMania is WrestleMania right now. It's WrestleMania 39 in April
2022, 23.
2022 is Dallas.
Yeah,
at AT&T Stadium. AT&T Stadium. Let's see. It's expandable to 105,000. Mm-hmm. You do Reigns versus The Rock, could you get 100,000 people in there, you think?
Yeah.
But here's my other question. Can Rock even find the time to do a WrestleMania match with Roman Reigns?
That's the biggest question. I don't think he can. He's being picked up
He's
for
the
a lot of. He has a lot of projects now, and the wrestling thing is just kind of like, I don't need to do that anymore. I've done
right.
that. It would be cool to come back, but
I just don't know how they make that happen.
yeah.
Um,
Now, if they wanted to do that, they should have done it about sooner.
in Daniel Bryan, his like at WrestleMania 30, it made more sense. The storyline was there. Here, though, they started this storyline with Edge and Roman Reigns, and then I don't feel Daniel Bryan really belonged in this match.
Yeah,
Sad to say.
I really don't. I really don't. And I think he deserves his own one-on-one type of match if they're ever going to do it. It shouldn't have been a three-way dance with him.
I feel
Though I
the
did,
match was good. Now, look, the match itself was good. It just it didn't feel like a WrestleMania main event to me. I'm sorry.
No, it didn't. And I would have loved to have seen Edge win
Mm-hmm.
because I thought that's what the storyline was going to go to. Because it kept mentioning the fact that it was to the date from 10 years 10 years ago
Right.
he was retired because of the injury. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought, and that was like they were harping on that. So I was like, oh, is that the way the storyline is going to end up? Is that he's going to win the belt as as a redemption from 10 years?
See, what do they even do with Edge now? Like
I don't know.
because he lost the greatest wrestling match ever to Orton.
Mm-hmm.
Then he won the Rumble, and now he's lost to Reigns. So I don't even know where you go with Edge at this point. Frankly,
We'll find out tomorrow on Friday Night Smackdown.
I guess so. To me, the outcome would probably be he just becomes an unhinged psychopath again, like he did in 2005.
Just brings back Lita. Well, no, he will bring Beth now that he's married.
He's married to Beth Phoenix.
Yeah, bring her in, and they could do exactly what they did.
Maybe
years ago.
So let's move on to Raw. The post-WrestleMania Raw, which some people are saying is the worst post-WrestleMania Raw ever.
I would agree with them.
Well, usually that like post-WrestleMania Raw kind of like sets the tone for the rest of the year. You know, it's kind of like a fresh restart, but yeah. So we started things off. Riddle, who had just lost the title the night before, started out the night and lost to Bobby Lashley in a 10-minute squash. I don't care what you say, that was a squash.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do they just hate Matt Riddle? Like, what is going on here?
They're going through a lot of people's feeds and websites. I mean, they're thinking like if he's pissed off Vince McMahon and he's punishing them.
It wouldn't be the first time.
Exactly. It happened before. It will happen again. So.
Okay, we did get the return of the Viking Raiders. Eric and Ivar were back. They beat Cedric and Shelton, formerly of the Hurt Business. I guess it was okay to see them back, but like, do you remember when they were War Machine?
Yes.
And they were wrecking it up in New Japan and Ring of Honor. They were a cool tag team, and now they're.
It was a great name too.
Yeah.
Viking Raiders just seems so dumb. War Machine sounds better. And
What's better, Viking Raiders or Viking Experience? Because it's what Vince wanted at first.
Both of them suck.
Okay. So Charlotte Flair was back, and it looks like she's going to be feuding with Asuka and Rhea Ripley.
Did she look a little different to you?
Different how?
She looked a little skinnier.
I mean, she did have she was recovering from COVID. Yeah, there is that,
and a little thinner in the face. Her face, mostly her face is what I kind of was looking at because it didn't look like.
I mean, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
I think she looked fine. I don't want to make too many remarks about her appearance. I don't know what's going on with her. We know she was sick. She was sick for a little bit, and I hope she's doing okay, and so I'm not sure.
I just know that her and Andrade are probably having a lot of fun. That's about it.
Oh well, I hope things are going okay with them, and that it's not,
I'm
him
pretty.
leaving is not going to cause problems. And,
I think that's why they had her come back after WrestleMania, because I think it was a good way to smooth it out
right.
without having to
Um,
start.
she did do like a risque photo shoot recently, and I mean her photos looked really good.
Oh
So
yeah, I did see that photo shoot. That she posted the images and I did see them.
so we had a rematch between Asuka and Rhea Ripley that ended in a no contest.
Hmm.
That match was not as good, and Charlotte. So it looks like they're going to do like a triple threat between these three women, which I guess you could do worse.
Exactly.
And
It
let's
wasn't a
see.
good way to start off Rhea Ripley's reign as champion.
Uh, I would not have maybe done that like the following night.
Yeah,
Okay, so what is going on with Alexa Bliss and the Fiend? And like,
I am done with this.
I have no idea what's going
Storyline.
on anymore.
Yeah, I am done. Get a big piece of dynamite, go Warner Brothers, and just go. Unless you
The
want to do that.
Fiend, the Fiend, the Fiend, like he converted Alexa Bliss. So like, what is Alexa Bliss doing now? I don't understand. Like, what? How have we turned this around?
I don't get it. I don't understand the storyline anymore. I think it's becoming just dumb. Even with the Bray Wyatt and the fun fun house is getting stupid. I think when it started, it was a good gimmick, and they just ran it off course. It's
Uh, so Bray Wyatt, he did the Firefly Funhouse again.
because I thought they were gonna
I
go the
don't.
Sister Abigail route at one point.
That's what I thought too. That like maybe Alexa Bliss was Sister Abigail the whole time or
Yeah,
something.
and then like they went off of that, and now it looked like they were gonna. Oh, maybe we'll bring it back again, and then we get what we saw on Raw, and I'm just like, I don't think they know where they want to take this. I don't think they know how they're gonna write it. If they were smart, kill it.
All right, Elias, who thankfully still has a job.
Hmm.
Uh,
How? I
lo-
don't know.
I like Elias.
I'm not a
I
big
like the Drifter.
not as a I don't I just don't like the character that they have him doing. But
Yeah, the New Day won. Let's see. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler beat Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. Now here's another thing. You broke up, as Jonathan mentioned earlier. You break up Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville.
mhm,
Then you break up Mandy Rose and Otis, and now she's just back in like a nondescript tag team with Dana Brooke, and I'm like, why?
in a skimpy outfit that just doesn't look good.
Well, they lost to the women's tag champs, and then what else? Drew Mac. Okay, so we had a triple threat main event. So the winner will face Bobby Lashley at Mesa WWE pay per view event, which is being called WrestleMania Backlash. Why?
I,
Why?
like I said, they're
There's
throwing
one
in the towel.
WrestleMania a year. WrestleMania is two whatever.
I thought the whole point of having that pay per view afterwards, calling it Backlash, kind of gave the whole point that it's a backlash from WrestleMania. Why
Yeah.
did they put the title in? I'm thinking they just wanted to make use of the graphics, whoever made them,
Okay.
one more time.
WrestleMania Backlash. Okay, so Drew McIntyre won. He beat Orton and Braun Strowman in this triple threat match. So we're gonna probably get a Lashley McIntyre rematch.
Hmm.
And then MVP came out, and it looks like he sicked the former Retribution members, T-Bar and Mace, aka Dio Madden and Dominic Dijakovic, attacked Drew McIntyre. So now it seems T-Bar and Mace. These great ring names we have here. It looks like they're now working for MVP, at least for the moment. So,
And yet, who did they get rid of today?
Samoa Joe, Kalisto, the Iconics, Bo Dallas. These guys, I mean, look, Dominic Dijakovic, he's a great wrestler. He was great in NXT.
Yeah.
Dio Madden, I haven't seen a whole lot of, but we know Dijakovic is good. But I don't. They're keeping their Retribution is over, but they're keeping them in the Retribution gimmicks, which I don't understand.
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay, so that was Raw. Any other thoughts on this week's Raw?
My thought is I don't want to think about it anymore because it was that bad.
Okay, so here's the other thing. You had Sheamus, who beat Riddle for the U.S. title, wasn't even on the show. You have a 3-hour show. You're not going to put Sheamus on? He was on Raw Talk. Yeah. That's it.
Exactly.
I just don't get that. Okay, so let's see. Now I guess we're going to go into NXT. So NXT, how do you think they did for their new regular Tuesday night show?
So it was better. It was definitely better than Raw. And I also was very happy to see Taya Valkyrie.
Oh, we'll get into that.
That was great, but I thought it was a good show overall.
Okay, so we started things off with Carrie Cross. He is in command of NXT. Everyone pays the troll toll to get the. Well, wait.
Is that what he said? Because I wasn't.
No, I don't.
Cross the whole.
I'm reading Kevin Pantoja's recap on 411 Mania. So Karrion Kross, he's our new NXT World Champion. He started things off with Scarlett. Doesn't matter how many zeros you have on your check, everyone's going to get taken out by him, I guess.
Wasn't hearing a damn thing he said. I was just looking at Scarlett the whole night.
I mean, I can understand. Scarlett is amazing. And she gets a lot of attention, and I can understand why. Yep. Okay, so then our opening match of the night, we had the new tag team champs, MSK, beat Drake Maverick and Killian Dane, who won that number one contenders match the week before, last Thursday. So MSK retained, so good for them.
Yep.
Decent match, I thought.
It was good. It was good. It wasn't the greatest, but for their first title defense, it wasn't bad.
Mercedes Martinez beat Jessie Kamea in a squash. Let's see. Oh, here we go. So we had. All right. I have some thoughts on this. NXT Cruiserweight title, Santos Escobar, title change, big title change. Kishida is now the new NXT Cruiserweight champion. So last week we had Santos became the undisputed champion. Nope, not anymore. Now it's Kishida. I would not have done this right after he unified the titles. I would have built this match up a little bit more.
Same here.
I would have waited till the next takeover. Mm-hmm. Now I know you want to do a title change every now and again on TV, but like give Santos Escobar a little credit. Like he just unified the titles in a huge ladder match on Stand and Deliver. I just don't. I wouldn't have done it. I would have had Kishida win the title, just not right away.
Mm-hmm. And if it was Raw or one of the main shows, I would have been like, is it because he's a luchador? Because he has that Mexican wrestling descent? But in NXT, I don't think that. But I don't get why they pulled the belt from him so fast. Unless they're going to do something else with him.
Well, I hope they will. Yeah. And I like Kishida too. Mm-hmm. Sadly, I think this is about what the ceiling is going to be for Kishida in WWE.
Yeah.
Is kind of just cruiserweight title level.
Exactly. And I think Santos is going to be getting more.
Okay, so we have Dakota Kai introduced Raquel Gonzalez. Raquel Gonzalez is now the NXT Women's Champion. And so we have the debut of the former Taya Valkyrie, who has now been redubbed as Frankie Monet. So she made her. What was that?
AKA Miss John Morrison.
There you go. She is now in WWE. She has her puppy,
who we've seen before.
She was saying,
did they contract the puppy as well? Because he's been the dog has been got some good exposure lately from Impact and also now.
Okay, so Frankie said the division is shinier and better with her around. Raquel threatened to shove the dog up where the sun does not shine. Mm-hmm. Frankie, I'm not going to say it. We're keeping it clean here. We're keeping it clean here, Mike.
Hey, I didn't say it.
I don't think I don't feel comfortable saying the word. But yeah.
She responded, but this is the one thing that I like is that since Taya Valkyrie wrestled in Mexico, I've interviewed her before. Amazing person. She used Spanish against Raquel Gonzalez and literally played it right off.
She she's Canadian, but she totally embedded, she assimilated into the whole Mexican lucha libre style, didn't she?
Yeah, she did. She did. And she was wrestling for a long time. Even during Impact, she was wrestling in Mexico. So
what was her nickname down there? She had a really cool Loca something.
Gringa Loca?
Maybe.
I think that was it. Crazy White Girl, I think was the kind of what the translates into. But I forgot. If you want to see, I believe she talked about it during our interview. You go into MUSE TV after the show and check it out.
I met her once at an Access TV Impact media event. She's super cool. Yeah, so I hope big things are going to happen for her. She can do it all. She can wrestle. She can talk. She's the total package. So I hope this is a start of good things for her. But
there's one thing I don't want to see them.
What's that?
Is to have Miz with his wife, and then have John Morrison with her, and them.
Right.
I don't want to see that.
I agree with that because a lot of people are saying because Morrison is on Raw, she should be on Raw with John Morrison. I don't think you don't need to pair everyone. You don't need to pair everyone up with their spouse. It's this kind of lets her kind of stand on her own. She can build up her own sort of name and character now, and it's not connected to John Morrison. She had her own career before she even met John Morrison. So I mean, I don't see the problem.
And I'm so tired of Miz and Morrison. Period. That I could.
This gives her. This is a fresh. It's a fresh start for her, right?
Yes, I agree.
Oh, so what do you think of the name Frankie Monet? Because there was some criticism and controversy about that.
The name doesn't really.
Okay.
For me, but I'm thinking that she doesn't own Taya Valkyrie, so.
She doesn't?
Or maybe she does and didn't want to give it up.
Usually the case is that when people come to WWE, they give them a new name and gimmick that they can own and they can trademark themselves. There are exceptions to that, but that's usually the case. Mm-hmm. So we also had Isaiah Scott versus Leon Ruff. Scott picked up the win. And then in our main event, we have Bronson Reed, Dexter Lumis, Ember Moon, and Shotzi Blackheart versus The Way in a mixed 8-person tag team match. Reed got the win with the Tsunami.
Couldn't we say Indigo Hartwell got a win as well during this match?
What is going on? What is going on there with Indy Hartwell?
I don't know what they're doing with the storyline, but
Does Indy Hartwell like Dexter Lumis or something?
Yeah, I have a feeling she does, and I like the way they're playing it off.
Is she like? Is the idea that she's trying to sabotage the way from the in from within? Is that the idea? You think?
I don't think so. I think it's just the fact that she likes them. They're trying to tell her, trying to control her life by being a part of the way.
So Indy Hartwell, she was feigning being knocked down, and then Dexter picked her up and carried her to the back, and then she was looking at the camera with a thumbs up and a smile. Theory got trashed. So
a couple splashes.
So is this? Are we going to see the end of the way at some point? Or are they going to break the way up this way?
I think so. Little by little, eventually you're going to see a split off of the way.
So maybe so I guess they're going to keep this feud going for a while, and maybe Bronson Reed will keep going after Gargano and whatnot. But yeah, very overall a good. I would say NXT was better than Raw.
I agree. It was a lot better. It was a lot more fun. Pulled me in a lot more than Raw did. Raw was.
I mean, I think a lot of people would agree NXT is routinely better than Raw and SmackDown lately. Okay, so moving right along, AEW Dynamite. So NXT had a good show. They did some good numbers. AEW was back, blew it out of the water last night. We opened things up. Rey Fenix and Pac of Death Triangle versus the Young Bucks for the tag team titles. The Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, got the win. Good opening match here, I think.
It was a good match. Great match, great moves. It was a lot of fun. There's only one thing I didn't like, and that was
that?
The Young Bucks' new costumes.
Oh,
I believe it was Matt. Matt had the crystals coming down from his headband.
I guess they're trying to be. I guess now that they're officially heels, I guess they're trying to be more like jerks.
Yeah, they're trying to fit that mold.
Why did you not like them though?
I don't know. I just don't like the way that it seemed very Hollywood, trying to be Hollywood, trying to be. It just didn't work for me. But the wrestling was good. You never really get a bad match from the Young Bucks
or Rey Fenix for that matter.
Exactly.
Phoenix is so exciting. I really want the Lucha Bros to win the titles at some point, though.
Same here, and I wish Pentagon was there. I wish it would have been Pentagon versus Rey Fenix, but that's a pay-per-view type of match, though.
I think their entrance gear, the headbands were a bit much, but
yeah, the gear was fine. I mean, it's similar to what they wore, but the headband with the crystals on it.
Okay, I see. Okay, with those kind of tassels.
Yes,
it looked weird. Yeah, maybe that was a bit too much, but
if Prince was a wrestler, he could pull it off. But
the Young Bucks do have weird attire now and again. Okay. Yeah. Jade Cargill, I think she's coming along pretty good. She beat Red Velvet. That was a big win for her. You know, decent enough match. They got a little bit of time. I think Jade Cargill, she impressed me in the match with Shaq because it was her first match ever, and we'd never seen her wrestle before. And she seems like she's trained and she's working hard.
Yeah, she really does. It seems like she's really putting in the work.
Okay, Anthony Ogogo squashed Cole Carter, Dax Harwood, and Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho picked up the win here over his Pinnacle rival. Any thoughts on Jericho versus Dax Harwood?
Nothing. It's a good setup match for when they what's the pay-per-view that they're going to be fighting against each other? Pinnacle versus
I think they're going to do Blood and Guts on May 5th. I think it's going to be on Dynamite.
Yeah, that's what. Is it going to be on Dynamite? It's not its own pay-per-view?
I'm going to look that up.
Yeah, because I know that
it's going to be free. It's going to be on free TV on May 5th.
That's going to be a
Cinco de Mayo.
Exactly. And you know what's better on Cinco de Mayo?
Blood and Guts.
Exactly. Well,
So yeah, so I guess this is going to be like AEW's version of War Games. Do you remember War Games?
yes, I remember War Games, and that was fun to watch.
I mean, old War, not
Old school War Games, not NXT War Games.
yeah,
WCW War Games.
yeah. So you had the two rings, you had the cage with the top.
Mm-hmm.
All you had the team. You had it was an all out brawl. You had the intervals. I don't know what kind of rules they're going to do for this one, but I think it's. I get the sense. I got the sense when they wanted to do this last year, it was going to be something similar. So, but right now, Blood and Guts is confirmed for May 5th on AEW Dynamite. So it will be Cinco de Mayo. Yeah. Chris Statlander, the Alien, was back in action and beat Amber Nova. Mm-hmm. Basically a squash match. Team Taz and Christian, any thoughts on that segment?
Not really. I don't get it. Why what they're setting up with that.
Okay.
I don't know.
So in our main event of the evening, we had Matt Hardy versus Darby Allin. Listen, I love Matt Hardy. I don't think he needs to wrestle anymore.
Yeah, I agree. But that coffin drop from 20 feet was pretty impressive.
It looked good, and thankfully Matt did not get his head cracked this time.
Yeah.
Like that match with Sammy Guevara. Yeah. So he looked more protected here. But Matt does not look. Look, he's not a young man in his 20s. He can't. And
the injuries, you could tell when he was
they've taken
the ladder and he landed on Darby Allin, that the way he came off was more safe this time.
Right. Okay, but now he's taking more of like a mentor kind of like managing role. I think he needs to stick with that though.
Yeah. Like every time I see him walk and I see his knees and what he's gone through, the fusions that he's had on his knees, it's like, dude, man, it's like, do you really have to wrestle anymore? Just be that mentor type of figure. I think it's better for you now, because I hate to see him get hurt.
Okay, so let's see what else. I liked Hobbs beating up Christian Cage.
Yeah,
I like Powerhouse Hobbs.
Yeah, I like the way they're setting it up, but it's like, dude, I don't like the whole Taz group and everything.
You don't like Team Taz?
Yeah, 1 week they're fighting against each other, next week they're not. It's just like, stick to something. Let me. If you're gonna do something with them, do something with them.
What do you think of Mike Tyson helping out the Inner Circle and helping out Jericho now?
That was just, it's great and all. Don't get me wrong. You need a name sometimes to throw in, but not necessary.
Well, I think it probably did help with the ratings a little bit that they had Tyson as the special enforcer, kind of like back at WrestleMania 14. Do you think they're going to get Tyson involved with Blood and Guts?
I don't know. It'd be interesting if they do. I don't. If he does, he'll probably be outside of the ring. I don't think he's going to come into the ring. But
now, Jericho said recently that they tried to make the match with Mike Tyson happen because it looked like they were building that up about a year ago. Yeah. It just couldn't. They couldn't get it together. Mm-hmm. So that was AEW Dynamite. All right. So, any other big takeaways from our jam-packed wrestling weeks that we have now?
To be honest, no. But the one thing, like I've been mentioning to before, is the fact that I really hope all these wrestlers that they released, do find their way, do find new places to work, new jobs. It must have been hard. I'm curious to see when they let them know, if it was actually today or earlier in the week, and they just released the announcement. But I really hope they find something soon, or when their causes up.
I gotta feel a couple of them, like Bo Dallas probably expected this or anticipated this. Mojo Raleigh, yes. Samoa Joe, I can see him being taken more by surprise. Billy Kay, okay, I have a statement from Billy Kay that she posted on Twitter. Thank you, WWE, Vince McMahon, and Triple H for the past 6 years. Thank you to every single person in both locker rooms and everyone I had the pleasure of working with. Thank you to my life partner, Cassie. Our journey started together, and it's only fitting that it ends together. I love you. I'm beyond proud of you, and I'm with you for. Cassie is Peyton Royce, right? Okay. I forgot about that. Okay. Lastly, thank you to everyone that reached out to me today. Knowing that I affected people's lives in a positive way means the absolute world to me. She is very talented. She is a great talker. I hope she does well after this.
Yeah, I hope so too. And hey, AEW needs a stronger women's division, so you never know.
The Iconics could go to Impact because they have Impact tag team titles. Ring of Honor is going to be starting up, their women's division again. So there will be opportunities, and I think these are all great workers. Okay.
Exactly.
Tag team title match set for this week's SmackDown. You have Rude and Ziggler versus the former champs, the Street Profits, tomorrow night.
I wonder if they're going to give up the belts back to the Street Profits. Mostly just because Ziggler and Rude were not even involved with WrestleMania. It seems kind of weird to me that
because they had the match on WrestleMania edition of SmackDown last week.
Yeah, but still, they're the champions. You think the champions would automatically punch your ticket into WrestleMania?
Yeah, so you had that in the catering battle royal. That was Kalisto's last match.
Yeah, which is sad that that's the way you go out.
Also set for tomorrow on SmackDown, we have Rey Mysterio versus Otis. So,
yeah. Will I be watching? I don't know. I have to because we have a show to do. But
what do you think of Dominic Mysterio?
I think he just needs more training. Like, he shouldn't be put into this situation already. I think he should have went into the development, go into NXT, and work your way up because
they really threw him out there, like right off the bat.
And you could tell they threw him out there, and you could tell that he's learning as he's going. And he's not his father. And that's the thing. It's like
he shouldn't have to be though,
Exactly, but that's what it seems like they want him to be.
To
be Rey Mysterio, but he should be his own guy and work into that role in his own time and develop him.
Oh, so the other big thing coming out of WrestleMania, we had Chris Jericho on Broken Skull Sessions with Steve Austin. So we had an active AEW talent on a WWE program on Peacock. So did you happen to watch that interview? I watched the whole thing.
It was great. Great interview. They didn't skirt around the AEW issue.
Right.
They talked about it. They talked about his career, talked the reasons why. And I think that was something really cool. I was shocked that WWE even had him on the WWE program.
Here's my question. Do you think, looking at the ratings this week and having Jericho on Broken Skull, do you think Vince regrets approving that decision?
If it continues, I think it's going to bite him in the ass. Because let's be honest, they say, it's like they said, and I heard it on Bubba's show.
On Busted Open?
On Busted Open Radio on Sirius. That Vince McMahon isn't afraid of them. He really said that Vince McMahon isn't afraid of him. That's why he allowed him to come on.
CM Punk said that too.
Yeah,
he said the same thing.
And I think he will be afraid of him.
Interesting.
Because the game has changed, and you got to evolve. He's no longer on the top dog anymore. He is the top dog now.
Yep.
Doesn't mean it's going to be forever.
That's
Doesn't
true.
mean it's going to happen forever. You have to keep up. You have to keep bringing on good talents. You have to keep putting together good shows. And after this week's Raw, if you're AEW, you strike now. And you're Tony Khan, you make sure that you start building into it to make sure that you start.
I will be curious to see what happens next week, because next week Raw doesn't have, it's not the post-WrestleMania Raw.
Yeah.
Can AEW maintain this momentum they finally have back now? And can they build to that blood and guts contest? And really, because the blood and guts will be their next, really big show. So that will be the next big test for them in a little less than a month.
That's why I say you built it around that Pinnacle versus
Right.
the
Inner
what's his
Circle.
name? Inner Circle.
Yeah.
You do the tag team championship match between Pen- Penta and Ray Phoenix versus the Young Bucks, and you make it exciting and key. And I think you're gonna really bring a lot more fans into it
Okay.
because they got great talent, and they got talent that nobody really knows about in that WWE space.
Okay. So some other WWE former WWE people: Renee Young, Renee Paquette, or Paquette,
Paquette, I believe.
Paquette, formerly Renee Young. How do you drop the ball on Samoa Joe? How? Injuries aside, what a mistake. I didn't realize Chelsea Green was a part of this too. She's a star. Roadblocks aside, she was determined to make it back to the ring ASAP. This sucks. This is a bummer. I think we've seen someone able to connect with the crowd with limited TV time the way we have with Billy Kay, or I don't think we've seen. And Mickie James is a bona fide Hall of Famer. They both bring so much to the table wherever they land, or they will both bring. Excuse me.
I don't think this is the end either. I think there's more to come too.
Um, we it's something we should keep an eye on the next couple days because there could be another wave of releases because they have the quarterly earnings call is in 1 week and they're going to want to like free up all that revenue probably.
And I'm curious to see what they say during that revenues call. I'm
Okay.
interested to see what happened, what comes out of it.
I'm also curious, and to say like you're getting record revenue and then you're cutting all these people and then you got the $1 billion deal with it's not
Yeah.
it just doesn't sit right with
There's
me.
a reason why I have not invested into WWE when it comes to an IPO publicly traded company. There's a reason why I haven't done
It's
it.
better spent on Apple or something
Yes,
tech
yes.
related.
Like I'd rather put my money into General Electric, Ford, Apple, AMD, even Dogecoin right now because my Dogecoin is going up.
Oh yeah,
WWE,
Doge. There you go. Yeah.
yeah, WWE just it's the if I have to look at it as a company and what I'm investing money into, WWE there's
It's not
issues with the
WWE.
management.
It's
There,
volatile. It's
yeah,
volatile, right?
yeah, their management is just questionable. And I'm not talking about Stephanie McMahon, Triple H, or even Shane.
Right.
I think it comes from the top,
Mm.
and I think it's an old school mentality that isn't working anymore in this day and age.
The Carney era is over.
Yes, especially when you have athlete like these guys are athletes that can do some amazing things that are really exciting. We see it with the Lucha Brothers. We see it with Matt and Matt Jackson and the Young Bucks. You see it with Kenny Omega. That's the future, and you're seeing that right now. And I think that's what really gets people excited about wrestling again.
Darby Allin, you know.
Darby Allin, exactly. That coffin drop yesterday, and the blows that he took from the bat, take from Matt Hardy off of a chair. I mean, that is exciting to people, and I think WWE is still playing to that family aspect, kid aspect, but those kids grew up.
Here's a good message from the virtuosa Deonna Purrazzo, who also got released from WWE last year. If we've learned anything this year, it's that when one door shuts, another opens up. I'm rooting for everyone today to realize their true potential wherever that may lead you. I think that's well said.
I agree.
So
I agree. But
hopefully they'll all take that to heart and bounce back to that. And look, this is an industry where right now, like they will have opportunities, and there are other people who clearly like and support them and will be willing to give them chances elsewhere.
I agree. I agree. And I'm looking to see where they land, where they go to, and what's going to happen with them because these are great talents. And I think WWE is going to be questioning later on why did we let them go?
Um, and also, I'm encouraged by just like the outpouring of support for these guys. All the people that it looks like were let go were. It seems like they were all very well liked
Yeah.
within the industry,
Mhm.
and were very well respected.
And that's what's funny is the fact that WrestleMania, the week leading up to WrestleMania week, Kalisto and Peyton Royce were at the charity events.
Mm.
And it's like, why are you gonna put? See, that's why I don't get. Like, why do you put them out if you know you're gonna get rid of them?
I mean, it's
And you're just
it's
building that.
it's corporate America, man. It's
That
it's kind of it's kind of cold and just kind of
well, it just
dispassionate
it doesn't.
sometimes.
It just doesn't make sense.
Mm.
Like if you're gonna start building that brand and still keeping up with their character, you usually would hold them back and not have them do much. Like Bo Dallas, they were kind of doing that too, but Peyton Royce and Kalisto, it like doesn't make no sense to
Okay.
me.
Fightful Select says Bo Dallas was at WrestleMania and did a test match, but he was not the Fiend.
Mhm.
That's from Fightful Select. So take it for what it's worth. So no Fiend Bo Dallas at WrestleMania. So
I agree, but I think we should probably end the show
yeah.
now. It's about dinner time. We still got light too, so we're not
Yeah,
even
we're not
so
we're not in dungeon territory.
exactly. But
Yeah.
how can we find you, Jeffrey? Because you do some great work.
I do have
Talk
some
to us.
big news. I have some big news. So I interviewed Houston's Mexican-born wrestler Gino Medina, who wrestles for MLW. Had a big match this week with Richard Holiday on MLW Fusion. So you can check that out. The 411 Wrestling Interviews podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and Spotify. A brand new exclusive interview I conducted, and you can read the written version on 411mania.com/wrestling. It's just 411mania.com/wrestling. Just spell out wrestling, and you can find it in the column section. So yeah,
Cool.
and
And
also I'm on Twitter at Wheeljack83.
cool, cool, cool. And don't forget to watch Muse TV. We have some new videos up today. We have some more coming out, and tomorrow's our the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Captain America little thing that they're doing next with Disney Plus, which we only have 2 episodes left. So you can watch it there. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more about us and what we're doing. And the first 2 shows and this show is going to be going into a podcast network, so you'll be able to get it in wherever you like your podcast as well. So hey, thank you so much for dropping by, being a part of the show, and we look forward to seeing you next Thursday here at 5 o'clock for This Week in Pro Wrestling.
Thank you.